Welcome you all to today's webinar on reimagining the world, comprehending tomorrow's challenges for the handicraft sector, Generation Next Perspective. Today we have changed the format of our webinar a bit as we are not having any technical expert amongst us. Today we have gathered young Turks of the handicraft sector to share with us their apprehensions, expectations and thoughts regarding the current situation that we are in. We have amongst us young entrepreneurs ranging from the one who has recently joined the business to the one who has been into it for over 10 years. So you can expect a very wide variety of experience which will be shared by the first generation, the second generation, and in some cases the third generation entrepreneurs as well. We also have women entrepreneurs amongst us who are keen to make their mark in this male-dominated handicraft sector. To begin with, we have with us Shri Ravi K. Pasi, Chairman EPCH, Shri Rakesh Kumar. Welcome you, sir. Shri Rakesh Kumar, Director General EPCH, and Shri R.K. Verma, Executive Director EPCH. Now, I would like to introduce you to the gentlemen and ladies, the young Turks entrepreneurs who are amongst us today. We have with us Mr. Vikrant Rai. He is the Director of C&R Textiles Private Limited and Partner Indian Arts and Crafts Syndicate, Noida. We have with us Mr. Gatik Bhandari, Director Bhandari Exports from Jodhpur. Mr. Shivam Khanna, Managing Director Creative Divya, Gurgaon. Mr. Puneet Chhabra, Director DC Overseas Private Limited, New Delhi. You can raise your hand while I introduce you because people are watching, they can see you, they can hear you. Mr. Vishal Khanna, President Brasex, Muradabad. Ms. Veenam Shandhar, Director DBA Exports Private Limited, Muradabad. Mr. Aditya Vikas Agrawal, Director of Operations, Vikas Exports, New Delhi. Mr. Ram Kalabopolalu, Director JJ Lakshmi Exports, Narsapur. I think he's having some trouble with the technicalities. He's going to join us. Mr. Namit Khanna. He is a recent entrant into the business, representing Nodi Exports, Muradabad. We have with us Ms. Soumya Suresh, co-founder, Nurture India, Noida. We have with us Mr. Anil Sadana, Vice President, Sant Exports, Saharanpur. And last but not the least, we have with us Mr. Shantanu Sutradhar, Proprietor, Barak Valley, Assam.
Good afternoon.
I welcome you all. Now, before we move on to the first set of questions, I would request Mr. Rakesh Kumar, DG Export Promotion Council for Handicraft, to give us opening remarks. Then I'll come to the first round of questions. Mr. Kumar.
So, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to young panelists, our next gen entrepreneur, the friends, Mr. Ravi Pasi, Chairman, Export Promotion Council for Handicraft, members of the Committee of Administration of EPCH, our Vice Chairman, Mr. Malhotra, Mr. R.K. Verma, Executive Director, EPCH, Mr. Rajesh Rawat, who is moderating the session, and also our Joint Director. Friends, the impact of the novel coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak is adverse and widespread and has brought business activities in most of the sectors to a grinding halt due to nationwide lockdown enforced by the government, a decision reflecting its overriding priority towards ensuring public health safety over business continuity till the time the scores of COVID-19 is sufficiently under control. The current situation has disrupted the business environment spanning across sectors in an unprecedented manner, marked with knee-jerk scenario caused by supply chain breakdowns, closure and the logistics service, labor force unavailability, cancellation of order, and all indicative of a not a business as usual, BAU, but a VUCA, which is now the new terminology coming in these days, is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity situation. Adaptability will be key to succeed post-COVID. Be prepared for the worst, then readjust if the situation improves faster. Assess risks and work around them. This can be done with the help of young mentors. While the small to large businesses are struggling to recover from the sharp downside caused by COVID-19, it is interesting to understand how the next generation entrepreneurs would navigate the overwhelming complex current environment and deliver value. Friends, the challenges are expected to get even more difficult in the context of the family-owned small medium enterprise, which are characterized with parent management culture, significant family member involvement, and centralized decision making. The working relation amid stressed business environment may also contribute to the possibilities of friction between the younger and the older generation. Please don't take it otherwise, but take it as a solution with that. With reference to the ways of business recovery and post-COVID-19 business continuity, the current situation is essentially a tight walk rope for the entrepreneurs with challenges with multiple stakeholders, employees, suppliers, customers, etc., putting the strain in the different directions. The situation calls for thinking out of the box and at the same collaborating effectively with the business stakeholders, including family members in case of family controlled businesses. Your reaction will define you and your business. How one reacts to the challenges along the way, especially the big ones, is what defines one's leadership and his or her ability to be resilient in business. Challenges remind us to be grateful, to slow down, and to remember why we began this entrepreneurial journey in the first place. And there can also be a opportunity to thrive. In light of this message, our esteemed members would provide their specific insight on how Generation Next entrepreneur, both independent and involved with the family businesses, should navigate the challenges posed by the COVID-19 outbreak on the business. Rawatji just mentioned, we have three sets of the entrepreneur here. One set of the entrepreneur are those who are the third generation entrepreneur, whose grandfather started the business, as in the case of Vikrant, and also in the case of Khanna's. Then the father entered into the business, and now the third generation has joined there. The another set of the entrepreneur here are the second generation, where the father started the business and the youngsters joined the business, gave the new direction, and also implemented or tried to implement their own new ideas. And the very first generation entrepreneur who have just joined the business some time back, proved themselves very well. Even if their parents were in a different line of business, they did not adopt that. The business was not close to even exports at all. But today, they are working very well and very successfully. All of you, rather I can say most of you, have studied in some business schools also. You would also share with us how your studies in the business school helped here in our in your family business orientation and developing the new ideas. With these words, I wish all of the panelists a great session ahead. Rawatji, please take the session forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your opening remarks. Now, going forward, I would just like to brief you about the format that we are going to adopt today. We'll have first round of questions from all the participants here, the young Turks who are with us today, which will be general questions. Then once we are done with those first set of questions, then we'll ask them COVID challenges, what they're facing, and the opportunities, what they expect post-COVID. Now to begin with, we have with us Mr. Vikrant Rai. He is a director of CNR Textiles Private Limited and partner Indian Art Staff Syndicate Noida. Vikrant, my question to you is, how should the younger generation collaborate with their senior family members in a family-controlled businesses in developing a navigation plan for the business recovery? What should be the attitudinal requirements, do you think? And after this, I'll come to Mr. Puneet Chhabra. Vikrant.
Thank you, Rawatji, for the question. I think personally, the fire of our generation and the experience of the senior members of the family is a very powerful combination. They bring together a great fusion of experience and creativity to the table. It's going to be a difficult road ahead, and we will need to use every trick in the book to recover from the enormous damage that is going to be caused by this pandemic. In this regard, most of us over here who are second generation or third generation businessmen and entrants into the family businesses, we are all very lucky as we have senior members of our family who are guiding us through these difficult times, because they themselves have seen very difficult times in the past. Uh, the synergies of both the generations will help us in making the right decisions and ensuring that the continuity of the business is there in the future. Having said that, I believe that the roles of the family and the members of the family in the business need to be very clearly and well defined. What we lack in the business is that the roles of the son or the father or the uncle or the brother are not clearly defined, and there is a lot of overlapping happening generally in the business, which is not fruitful. So there should be a clear division of work between all family members. Post COVID, how we have divided the work in our family business, in our organization, is that I will be working towards primarily the technological enhancement and upgradation of the business. I would like to share a few examples with all our panelists and all the members over here, that we are planning to digitize our sampling process. We learned from some of our esteemed clients that 3D mapping is coming in a big way into apparels. So that is how we are working towards backward integrating our sampling process to develop smaller swatches and map them into 3D samples and then share it with our clients. As we all know, we are being exporters. Client meetings will be reduced considerably. Sample requirements for the buyers will be negatively impacted. So that is one of the major steps that we'll be taking post-COVID. We will be organizing a lot of virtual workshops with our clients. We have empowered our design and development teams to work remotely. As design and development is always for the future, we've already started working for the last 1.5 months on our new spring summer 21 collections virtually with our design team. This will help us in customer retention, and also we are focusing on developing newer markets. Furthermore, we are also working towards upgrading our current infrastructure and leveraging it so that we can manufacture more products uh, which synchronize with our current infrastructure strengths. As we are in textiles, we are leveraging our capacities to make masks, PPE, coveralls, etc. Having said that, our senior generation has a lot of experience of their own. They have seen times which we guys can only imagine. There were strict quota regimes, there were extremely tight foreign exchange regulations, they had very limited resources at their disposal, but still they had that spirit to make it big one day. We can leverage and partner with our senior members of the family to ensure that costs are minimized. As it is rightly said that cash is king. So we need to work really hard on preserving cash so that the continuity of the business is preserved. Then they can work towards streamlining of the operations, the back-end operations, which is their forte for the last several years, that they've helped us learn and garner over the years, and maintain positive cash flows in the organization. Also, our senior members have taken really tough decisions over their course of experience, and they can actually help us in taking those tough decisions in today's difficult times. Furthermore, we have taken some measures to map our inventory levels for the last few years, and this has actually helped us during the COVID-19 situation. We had reduced inventory levels, and we also diversified our customer portfolio post the 2008 crisis in the States, as well as the 2011 and 12 crisis in Europe. So we diversified our customer basis, continent, country, and customer. So no particular customer or continent or country in our portfolio holds more than a certain percentage of our client base. This in this COVID-19 situation really helped us because we received fewer order cancellations, there were lesser order postponements, and we are financially okay in terms of having a post-COVID scenario. This is something that I would suggest to all my fellow entrepreneurs over here. They must consider having the 3 C's approach over here. This is also a time for skill building in the organization, and we should focus on trainings and strengthening of all our workforce, manpower, as well as upskilling ourselves with the changing environment. Personally, I started with a computer science course, never done it in my life before. So this is really helping me understand the basics of coding and other things. Then to the second question that Ravitji had posted about the attitudinal response that all of us young entrepreneurs, which we should have towards our senior members, I personally consider that our senior members are our mentors. Their guidance is of paramount importance to us and for the continuity of the business. The senior generation also needs to empower the younger generation to take decisions and make them accountable for all their decisions. Their roles and responsibilities should be clearly defined. I agree there will always be disagreements between the younger generation and the senior generation. And we always feel that, oh my God, why this problem is coming to us? This problem is unique to my business. But trust me, I went to ISB. It's a family managed business course. I worked with people in pharma, real estate, FMCG, XYZ. Everybody has the same problems in a family managed business. It is how you tackle those problems, tackle those disagreements. I will come to it in a minute. I feel that these can be tackled in a logical and scientific way. This is a hand-in-hand approach which should be taken between both the senior generation and the younger generation. The opinion and the um, advice of the senior member and the opinion of the younger member of the family should be equally respected and understood with full logical reasoning. In order to do that, you can all go to the whiteboard analysis. You can write down the pros and cons of any disagreement that you might be having, understand the problem, okay, and come to a logical solution. I believe that all of us are rational here, the younger as well as the senior generation. And if we come to a logical conclusion, stating the pros are higher than the cons of any particular discussion, then they will go with the pros. Furthermore, I would like to add that in these times of crisis, it is a very important and critical time for our younger generation to take the mantle up and play a more pivotal role in the organization. This should be guided by our senior members. They should let us steer the way out of this problem. Be it the supply chain management, be it the labor management, be it dealing with government authorities, XYZ. Till date, we have all been very protected with our environments. We only deal with specific marketing related issues. We deal with production, but we are not doing the licensing work with the government offices. We are not mapping our supply chain properly. We are not handling the labor issues on a day-to-day basis. So this is one key takeaway that I would suggest all senior generation members to pass on the baton in some way or the other to take up more responsibility for the younger generation. One more very important point that I have learned over the course of my program and understanding family business is that everybody who has a smaller family business, like I have a very small family, but it's still a family business. We are 2 people involved. People who have bigger families have more complex issues in the family business. So they should all consider a concept of a family constitution. A family constitution is something which is very similar to the constitution that we hold for our country. It clearly states the roles, the responsibilities, the rights and duties of each member of the family. What role he will play in the family as well as in the business. What kind of luxuries or amenities will each family member will be granted post their involvement in the business, before their involvement in the business. This really helps in understanding for all the family members to have a clear understanding of the process. Like if one day my cousin enters the business or my nephew enters the business, this is what he is going to do. And this particularly, if it is done at the right time, in a well-defined manner, in a structured manner, and is explained to all members of the family through their upbringing, it will really ensure that continuity of the business. Me being the third generation, the biggest fear that I have is of shirt sleeves to shirt sleeve. It is said that only 10% of the businesses survive the third generation. So everybody needs to be equally motivated, even the second generation, the third generation. And we need to be as focused as our parents or our grandparents were focused when they started off the business. To conclude, business and families should always be considered separately. It is, of course, a family business, but the business problems should not be discussed at home, and at business, we should not discuss family. And it is important for each family member to respect and understand each other's viewpoints. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikrant. Thank you.
Very well said, Vikrant. Well done. In fact, just one line. Would like to know, is it true that the solution to all relationship problems is to communicate clearly upfront? Is that correct?
I totally agree with you, sir. It is the only solution. If communication is open and transparent, then there can be a solution to any problem in the world.
Vikrant, I have a question for you.
Just a second. We'll come back to you. Thank you, Vikrant. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
And
Ravi.
we understand family business is an advantage for you, and you can see there's a lot of harmonization and synergy within your setup. That is very pleasing to hear. Now, moving on, I would request our all gentlemen panelists to stick to the time limit. Their opening remarks with us 2 to 3 minutes only. Now I will come to Mr. Puneet Chhabra, Director of BC Overseas Private Limited, New Delhi. Puneet, you are a first generation fashion jewelry and accessories exporter and has left a well-established real estate business of your father and took up entirely different business. What prompted you to join this business, and how has been your journey so far, and what EPCH has the role to play in your success, Mr. Chhabra? And then I'll come to
Sorry, just a moment, sir.
Mr. Vishal Khanna after this. Puneet, go ahead.
Very good afternoon, and thank you for the question, sir. I left the real estate business because I was more interested in handicrafts. It was suggested to me by a friend of mine that fashion jewelry has got a very good scope. And then EPCH came into a picture. I went to Rakesh ji, this is some 13 or 14 years back. I went to Rakesh ji and he guided me eventually. That's how I got into this particular business. And EPCH has been of a lot of help since the inception of my company, from suggesting fares to going to suggesting how to do business. A lot of members of EPCH also helped me in teaching me how to do business, because I did not know about exports at all. So I had a lot of guidance from EPCH, from the top end management to the real bottom. Everybody was very helpful. And main reason of getting into this business was the fact that there's already one business which was going on in the family, and how much can one expand? So I checked with my father if he's okay, and if I could get into a new business line. Getting into exports was fun, because at that time it was fun, but because it was a lot of travel, and then it was a different line altogether. And the most important reason of getting into this business was because I always looked up to my dad. My father is also the first generation business. He did everything by himself. He's a self-made man. So I wanted to be just like him. And God has been very kind, and I could be a little bit like him. Thank you. Sir,
Yeah,
you
Puneet
muted.
ji. Puneet ji.
Sir.
Puneet. In fact, we would like to know a little bit more that you entered into the business just without any background. So how you have been able to succeed in this? Basically, today you have a sizable export in the fashion jewelry. can you just tell us one or two challenges you faced and you have been able to overcome those challenges?
Sure, sir. So most importantly, as soon as I got into the market, I realized that there are a lot of people who are doing fashion jewelry, and I could never compete with them because I was really very young in front of all those companies at that point in time. So I had to come up with a new idea. What I saw was that almost everybody had more or less the same kind of samples. More or less everybody had the same kind of look. So how we started was that we started designing jewelry. We kept everything very, very different. We made sure that we are mixing materials, we're using different components, we're designing components as well. So that helped us a lot. Because our styles were different from the market, it used to attract a lot of customers. Although quite a bit of customers would always buy similar stuff which they were already buying from India beforehand, but with us, because we had a beautiful collection, so they were at least very excited to get into the stand, have a look at the whole jewelry, and that's how we could start the conversation. So from there, slowly and steadily, it all started building up. Initially, when you don't have the same background, you have a complete new business, you have no idea. So running to the banks, running to different exporters, asking for their help just to understand. I never knew what is an LC. So I went to the bank to understand that what an LC is, what is DP. So to come up, to get over all these things, I joined a course, which was a 3-month course on exports, and finished that to understand what is all the documentation and how to get money. Then finance becomes a very, very big problem. Obviously, I took some loan from my father, was very happy. After four years, more or less, I returned all the money to him. But then you cannot ask from him again and again. So yes, banks do help a lot. So bank finance is a very, very important part for an exporter, especially somebody who's just started his own business. So that is a very, it's a big challenge as far as finances are concerned, because without a doubt, the industry has a norm of 30% advance and 70% before shipping. But when you are establishing yourself, you do not want to miss out on big brands as well. And these big brands would ask for a 60 to a 90-day credit term. So finance is again a very, very big issue. You, for sure, I've done my bachelor's of business administration, but when you get into an office, you make your own team right from the beginning, it becomes really difficult how to handle people. So it's a learning curve. When it's all done by you, then for sure, after 5 to 10 years, you learn each and every bit. Today, I know we are in a very, very bad situation of COVID-19, but fortunately, my whole team has been very, very supportive, from my merchandiser down to the most basic labor, and everybody has been very, very supportive. But all these learnings are helping me today. In the worst case scenario, all those learnings are helping me today the most, because of no prior experience at all whatsoever, but because I learned each and every bit from myself, from my own business, by a lot of my own mistakes. So it turned out to be much better rather than joining my family business. Thank you.
Thank you, Puneet. Thank you very much. And we can understand a lot of learning and unlearning has to be done to get yourself established in your new location. Now, before I come to Ms. Veenam Shankar, I would request Mr. Vishal Khanna, who is president of Brassex Moradabad. Vishal, you are into the handicraft business for the last 15 years, and I suppose you are a second generation entrepreneur. During these years, you may have seen a lot of ups and downs in your business. Kindly share with us your experience of coping with a low in your business, and you being in a family business, how has that helped you coming out of it? Vishal. Vishal, we can't hear you. To unmute yourself. You are muted, Vishal. Vishal, you have to unmute yourself. We can't hear you. You are muted. We can't hear you, Vishal. विशाल
आप नेक्स्ट ले लीजिए, फिर उनको बता देते हैं, फोन पे बता दें मनीष जी उनको, आप नेक्स्ट कर लीजिए।
विशाल, okay, since we can see Vishal, you have to unmute yourself. You are muted. You have to unmute. Okay, since we are having some trouble getting to Vishal, we have with us a woman entrepreneur, Miss Veenam Shankar. She represents DBA Exports Private Limited, Muradabad. My question to Veenam is, Veenam, you represent altogether a different product range, and the product displayed in your booth, what we have seen over the years, are very, very eye-catching. And we can see you in those fair times, single-handedly managing everything. What were your major challenges in production, and especially transferring your ideas into reality? Whether old human resources in your company and old human resources in your company and employees in your factory conform to your ideas and are equally receptive to you as to your father. Veenam.
Thank you so much for this question. Hi everyone, good afternoon. I hope you guys are all doing well. Regarding the question that you've asked me, honestly, it's never been difficult to transfer new ideas into reality because of my father. He has always been extremely forward in his thinking, and I think he's had more ideas than I have had way before than anyone in the industry. So it's never been a challenge that ways. Yes, some of the things in production, of course, are challenging to you because the people that are working in the factory for a very long time have these ways of working that they don't want to change. You know, managers, they don't want to change the way they work, and of course, labor doesn't want to change the way they work. So it's a challenge to make them understand that it's for their good and it's for the it's, you know, we're moving forward in a different time, and that's where the challenge was. And another challenge that I faced was that being a woman, I think it's difficult for I think it's well said. I'm sure that everyone knows it's difficult for a woman to make the male understand that, you know, this is that I am someone who's trying to tell you something to do. They don't want to take orders from women. Like that's just something that doesn't work in the industry, a lot of industry actually. So yes, that's the biggest challenge that I had to face. Because of that, a lot of changes had to be done, and I think my father and my mother, both in the business, supporting me in those changes was something that helped people understand in the factory that, you know, this is something that they need to adapt to, and they need to understand that, okay, fine, you know, this is where this is going towards, this is the future. So I think I'm very thankful to that, to my parents, for them being so forward in their thinking, and for them giving me a chance to, you know, make something of my life and make something of my career that I've always been interested to do. Apart from that, the other question that you asked me was, you know, we represent a different product range, and it's always eye-catching. Thank you so much for that compliment. Of course, I would give all the credit to our designers, Darrow. I'm sure they're probably watching it, or they'll see it later, just since I got a message from them. And it's actually, again, my father's doing that. He had this idea that, you know, he actually came up with it, and he searched for these designers. And I think I would give the credit to him again, that he came up with this idea of actually building the business or taking it towards a more design, intricate, you know, product range. because especially in Moradabad, we've been seeing a lot of products over and over again. I mean, every factory does the same things. You see the same things over and over again. And it's no offense, of course. There's different things that add to a product which makes it different.
Okay.
But then of course you see the same things over and over again, and that is a challenge in Moradabad. But apart from that, just having this thought that designs should become more products should become more design intricate. That is something that worked really well with us, and that is something that helped us build that different product range. I think I would agree with Vikrant here, where he said that he has a different design based product, and then again a lot of people here who are on this panel are working with different designers. So I think that is something that makes your product different, and that is something that catches the eye. I mean, we can only work so much. We run a factory, we have managerial skills, we have admin skills, but I don't believe that everybody has the creative skills of designing products. So that I think we should leave to designers, and that works in the favors of everybody. And of course, apart from that, I don't single-handedly manage everything. It may look like that because I think I make it look like that I'm doing everything, but no, I don't do everything on my own. I have an amazing team that works behind, and they do everything for me, to be honest. Whatever you tell them, I mean, it's brilliant to have a team when you don't even have to say the right words, and they know that this is something that you want, and they know that this is something that you expect them to do. So it's absolutely amazing to have such an amazing team. That's where I think the credit would go. Yeah, I think that's mostly it. Thank you so much for asking me this question, actually, and complimenting us as well. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Veenam. Thank you very much. And it is good to hear that you have a very good support system. And I'll tell you what, the best quality of a leader is to give always credit to a team. And that we can see in you.
Thank you.
Keep it up, and we wish you all the very best for future. Now, I think we have with us Mr. Khanna. He has joined us. Mr. Vishal. Vishal is there. Vishal, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, now, you heard my question, or should I repeat?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Vishal. Go ahead, Vishal.
So thank you very much, Rawatji, for the question. So I joined this business in 2004, and I saw the difficulties in recession 2008. That was very worst time, and I can say now situation is worse than 2008. And for my family, they supported me like anything. And on that time, we were facing problem financially as well, because there were lots of things, payments were not coming from our clients. And but हम लोगों ने क्या किया कि इसमें हमने innovation में कमी नहीं छोड़ा कहीं पर भी. We invested a lot in innovation, और हमने काफी सारी चीजों पर हमने invest किया, और we had talented designers from India and as well as from US as well. So we took risk that time, और वो risk पर हम बहुत अच्छे से आगे निकले. तो in that situation, हम लोगों ने फेयर नहीं करते थे हम लोग, but we started fair as well. राकेश जी ने हमें बहुत सपोर्ट किया और हमने फेयर्स करना चालू किया. मैं ट्रैवल नहीं करता था, ट्रैवल करना स्टार्ट किया. राकेश जी ने बहुत सपोर्ट किया कि आपको ट्रैवल करना चाहिए, you should take new ideas, new techniques from fairs. So हम लोगों ने काफी टेक्निक्स ली और फेयर में जाना चालू किया, and we got good response from the fairs. But we decided to cut down overheads that time. So हमने wasteful expenditures जो थे वो सारे रोके और अच्छी चीजों में invest करना चालू किया that time. तो काफी चीजें हमने संभाल कर उस वक्त किया. Major issue was pricing that time. जिसको भी कुछ भी price दो, it was expensive. So we worked on the product कि एक सस्ता और अच्छा प्रोडक्ट बनाए, और हमने उसको प्रेजेंट करके अच्छे से बिजनेस लिया अपने कस्टमर से. So these are the points which I shared with you, जो हम उस समय अपनी फैमिली के साथ में पूरी से अच्छे से आगे ले जा सके.
Thank you, Vishal. Thank you very much. And it is good to hear that you have seen the lows in your business and you have come out of those lows with flying colors. And
Yeah.
I'm confident that this time also you'll emerge victor. Now, moving on, we have with us Mr. Ram Kalavakulanu. He is a second generation exporter, entrepreneur exporter from down south, Narsapur, representing, he's a director with JJ Lakshmi Exports. Ram, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Rawatji.
Ram, as we were discussing yesterday, you have a fully compliant factory with
Yes,
FedEx and all kinds of compliances. And you have seen your father do the business in a traditional manner since you are second generation entrepreneur. What has changed in your business since you have joined your father? Would like to hear that from you, Ram.
Ravaji, I would like to just add over here a little bit about the Narsapur also. Narsapur is in the down south. It is in Andhra Pradesh, but this place is so far that if you have to reach Narsapur, that means you have to take a flight from Delhi to Hyderabad. Then from Hyderabad, you have to take an overnight train to Narsapur, or you have to take another flight to Rajmundry, and then from there another 4 or 5 hours by road. So it's a remote corner of the country in the Bhimavaram district. Narsapur is like a village if you go there, and there we have over 50,000 craftsperson, the lady craftsperson who does the hand crochet lace work. So that is the place like, and at that place, Ram is working with a fully compliant unit. His father was in business, but his father was doing absolutely traditional business in 1 or 2 rooms. I was surprised to see once we had inaugurated our International Late Trade Center there, and then we visited there, and we found that Ram has taken a good initiative, a total turnaround the business of his father to absolutely very organized unit. So congratulations, Ram, and then please share your experience. What motivated you to completely give a turnaround to the business from traditional to the modern way of doing?
Hi, sir. Good afternoon, sir. And thank you, Rakesh ji, for a great brief about our Narsapur industry. And thank you so much. And Rawat ji, thank you for this opportunity. And first of all, joining my father in the business, I have been able to introduce and implement a modern way of thinking from traditional way of working, which my grandfather and my father used to work, and expanding more business in international markets, and especially branding the products and making the factories compliance to suit the buyer needs. And I'm proud to say that I have been able to carry forward this handmade lace industry from generation to generation, with all the due respects to the EPCS, the support which we got from the day one, which I still remember the first fair in my, when I entered the business in Greater Noida. It's a great opportunity to work with this trade phase and improving the business. And I have been learned a lot from my father, Mr. Swami, and my uncle, Mr. Tulasi, with due respects to them, to provide me such an opportunity to prove my potential. And at this situation, the EPCH is doing an extraordinary work, keeping exporters active to sharpen our focus, which is so important, like how we are able to manage, and not just through crisis. So in this way, I can strongly say that I can, say request people around and, to implement and adopt a new style of approach, which is like smart sourcing, which buyers needs to set this time. And so we have to keep going accordingly. So, and also Rakeshji was mentioning that, we have like many number of artisans, like 50,000 people in and around of West Godavari and East Godavari been working. And in this situation, it's a great, I mean, like what to say that it's of course, unfortunately, orders are not cancelling, but buyers started negotiating for the discounting, these kind of things. So which we have to be prepared for these, and especially, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, Ram. We can hear you. You have muted yourself, Ram. You have to unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, so I hope that EPCH will come up with some strategic planning for virtual way of business, like smart sourcing or something like, which buyers. Yesterday, I was talking to one of the French buyers, and they were talking about this, industry. What are the steps your the prime sourcing platform is going to implement? How this is going to move forward to overcome this epidemic virus, and we are looking forward to this, and how people can able to do business in this period, like ordinary virtual of online trade shows would help in Indian handicraft exporters to showcase how like online sourcing. This is what the buyers are looking forward now. So how we can able to move forward on this platform? So this is a major question to everyone, that we have to move forward on this platform.
Okay. Ravaji. So thank you, Ram. In fact, we are absolutely on the same track.
Yes,
the virtual trade fair is going to be launched very soon. Maybe in a
Yes,
week
sir.
time, all of you are going to get information from EPCH. Get ready, take the photographs of your products, 3D photographs, videos, get everything ready with you. And soon, in a week
Great.
time, we have already signed a platform. And soon, all of us will be on again on the IGF fair. Maybe in next 15-20 days, it is going to be launched. So rest
Thank
assured,
you.
your preparations and whatever products are there, that is to be marketed well. Not through the physical platform, but at least now from the virtual platform. Thank you for
Thanks for the time.
taking
Thank
it
you so
up.
much for your
Okay.
kind attention.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Ravaji, please take forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you very much for
you.
sharing
Thank
with
you.
us your experience with the lace artisans in Narsapur. Moving on, before I come to Ms. Soumya Suresh, we have with us Mr. Shivam Khanna. He's the managing director with Creative Divya Gurgaon. Shivam, can you hear us? You have to unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, Shivam, I understand you are a very well traveled person. You have been to many number of fairs and you have been in the business for the last 11 years. How do you see yourself different than the others who are in the business? And has your new ideas helped in transforming your business and attracted more buyers in a much better way than your father used to do?
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Hope all are safe and healthy at home with loved ones. These are difficult times for the world and we must stay positive and proactive for a good future. Thank you, Ravaji, for the question. Basically, the question has two parts. One would be a comparison between me and my father in terms of the ideas that benefited the business. And the second part would be how different I am from the fellow exporters here. So for the first part, I would like to begin with saying that although me and my father both started work at the same age, similar ages, both in early 20s, fresh out of graduation, but the reasons were quite different. If we compare our respective beginnings, it was in completely different times, difference of a couple of decades in which situations, lifestyles, opportunities and hurdles were way different from each other. So comparing the two would not be a very good idea. And if we talk about the times together, well then, obviously we both bring individual strengths to the table. My dad has experience, I have newness. He brings wisdom, I bring fresh energy and patience. When these qualities work together in tandem is when we see great improvement, always. There is an immediate effect on business for each decision or idea suggested by either of us. It may be comparable in the short term in terms of monetary or sales gains, but there are always long-term effects of decisions. Sometimes a low impact but continues for long, sometimes a big improvement but short-lived. But to point out a few individual ideas of mine that benefited the business, first I would like to mention an important step that must be taken before a new generation takes over the reins of the family business. Amongst the first and major hurdles most of us second generation or third generation entrepreneurs face is team building, or rather a transition of the workforce based on your frequency. Having the right kind of people with you to support your growth in your individual onwards journey in business, once we have taken over, is extremely crucial. My father and I have slightly different temperaments, as most of us would have experienced with their families. And I faced my share of different difficulties also. But eventually, I did put together a team that understood my business philosophy, which was naturally different. Times were different, needs were different, opportunities were different, ambitions are different. Anyways, this step certainly helps in the flow of operations and hence directly benefits the overall business. Once that is done, you can implement your own ideas, experiment a little, you're able to handle the effect and changes. A major contribution would be the incorporation of social and business compliances. Before my time, this almost did not exist in our industry particularly, but eventually it became a necessity. Understanding the compliances and its effects on business practices, the changes, implementation, the whole process was initiated under me and is still in progress. Buyers today are much more technical and very particular about detail. It needs a lot of patience as well as quick development on any project. That is something we can say I pay a lot of attention to. Apart from this, we have expanded and diversified the products and material categories. Not only visiting different regions of the country, exploring arts and cultures, which was essentially the core of my father's business strategy, but also understanding client markets, trends, forecasts, combining both to come up with necessary variation products, if not entirely new products. Not only are the regular customers happy this way, but you also create scope for new clients and markets. New crowd of buyers is always exciting. These are a few things I can think of right now that are my individual contributions to the business. Obviously, these are all ongoing and continuous processes, a part of business life. Coming to the second part, how am I different from the fellow exporters? Well, we are all different, individual, unique in our own way. What is common is that we are running a business. A business itself is like a big family, like a country, like an organization. Sometimes you pay more attention to certain areas as per need and long-term goals. But what is most important is to look after its people and their living and working standards, at least for me. I've been fortunate enough to have had a privileged upbringing, and I call it fortunate particularly because it gave me the strength and sensitivity to to be considerate towards other people. Employees, dependent associate businesses, artisans, craftsmen, even the buyers and their staff, all who work directly or indirectly with my business, I feel responsible towards them. And I strongly believe, irrespective of the scale, a business should always be looking after its people, its biggest assets. I would like to add that in the end, each business journey is different. We all go through our individual hurdles, but it is important to have a positive approach and be open to learning. There is always more to learn out there. And like right now, times are tough, but there will be many opportunities post COVID-19 once all is back to normal, and we must be prepared to speed up. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivam. Thank you very much. And it is good to hear that your father are working as a team in tandem, and a lot of ideas are being shared between father and son. And I hope that is the key to success of your business. Thank you, Shivam. Thank you very much for the initial thoughts. Now, moving on, we have with us Ms. Soumya Suresh. Now, after Soumya Suresh, I'll come to Mr. Santanu Sutradhar. Soumya, my question to you is, you are a first generation exporter entrepreneur, and you have just entered the handicraft business 2 years back after leaving a well-paid fashion journalist job with a .com company. How has been your journey so far, and where do you see yourself 10 years down the line? Soumya?
Hi everyone, good afternoon, and thank you so much for this opportunity. It's really lovely hearing so many views and opinions on this topic. So just to answer your question, my co-founder and I, Pratima and I, we come from very different backgrounds and even our families. My father is a doctor and Pratima, my co-founder's parents are into banking and finance. So no business at all there. So that was one of the first steps to actually unlearning everything that we have come from in our plush jobs that we had, and then being as we driven by passion when we actually decided to sort of quit our jobs and look into the handicraft space. I've had I think maybe the first thing was to travel and to the remotest corners of the country and sort of unlearn and relearn everything, right from how the craft is made, how the cluster, how the whole artisan clusters actually functions, how the material you have to improve, how to take care of quality. Then the next leg of the whole thing was about marketing and getting to buyers. And I've had I think I've troubled Rakesh Kumar sir so much about the same, asking him and requesting him for his input, and he's been so helpful to give us all of that. So the journey has been absolutely fabulous in terms of all the learning that we have done, and how we've actually sort of differentiated ourselves from everyone else who is working in the cluster and in wood. We currently do have wood as our product line. So that has been the first step. And I think 10 years down the line, so our vision is to establish a global brand that would stand for quality and sustainability and eco-friendly without harming the environment across all the aspects. So it would be supply chain, it would be how we treat our artisans, how we respect the environment, basically looking at it from a 360-degree point of view. So that is the vision that we have for the company.
Well done, Soumya. Ravaji, just let me. You always see the large exporters, successful exporters, quote them. You are so impatient to be the very big exporter in a day. But there's a message for all the young generation, particularly the first generation exporter, that the most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 2 or 3 decades. So just keep in mind, see that how others are successful, how long they have taken. So definitely there is a more you can do by the passage of time and with the hard work. So thank you. Keep it up. Okay, fine. Ravaji, please take it forward.
Thank you, Soumya. Thank you very much. And as Mr. Kumar said, you need to take small steps, and you always should look at the bigger picture, and you'll reach there at some point of time. Thank you very much for your initial comments. Moving on, we have with us Mr. Santanu Sutradhar. He's from Barak Valley, Assam. He's a first generation exporter. And after Mr. Sutradhar, I'll come to Mr. Namit Khanna. Now, my question to Mr. Santanu is, Santanu, you are a first generation exporter, entrepreneur exporter of natural fiber products, operating in northeastern part of the country. What motivated you to enter into this business, and how has been your journey so far, Mr. Sutradhar?
Ravaji, I think people, just a minute, Shantanu, those are located the farthest part of the country. I think they need really more applause from us. The
thumbs up, sir. We must give them
thumbs up to them. You know, if you have to reach Shantanu, I think it will take 2 days to reach that place. Shantanu is located further from Guwahati. Shantanu, how many kilometers from Guwahati?
Sir, 350 kilometers from Guwahati.
350 kilometers, and that too overnight journey just by bus.
Yes.
And this is a area which is totally under insurgency for a long time. It's a bordering Bangladesh.
Bangladesh border.
It's a bordering Bangladesh, and there are many odds. So keep it up, Shantanu. Please share your story. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you especially to Rakesh Kumar, sir, and the entire EPCH team who has thought it necessary to promote the Northeast Especially they have chosen me for this today's panel discussion. So I just start with my story, which is a very interesting story, and it was just an experiment which I have started actually. I was a aspirant of civil services. I went to Delhi, studied there, but I came to this export management. I studied export management, then I got into export related job in an export company in Delhi. And there I realized the potential which we have got in the Northeast in the form of handicrafts. And I could discover many handicraft products being sourced from the Northeast and being exported to various countries. So instantly my mind changed, and I thought to do something for my area and my locality. So I just left my job and started working with the artisans scattered in the entire Barak Valley, and which is in fact a hub of handicrafts activities from long period, and it has gotten connection to World War II also, because that time this handicrafts basket weaving started in this Barak Valley area, but the entire thing was unorganized. So I came into that area, and I just started motivating some artisans, and then I started supplying to government agencies, emporiums and all. And then slightly I turned up the business, slightly it increased, and at the time 2002 came, I was selected by EPCH under the project, and that was the turning point of my life, in fact, because the moment EPCH picked us, and we were exposed to the entire world of handicrafts, and we were in front of the buyers, just in front of the buyers with our products. But at the time, we were not capable of catering to the demand of the buyers, because in terms of finishing, quality, designing, everything. But EPCH made a program in such a way that we were taught how to produce the products according to the market, and designing was the major part which EPCH taught us. And then we did the finishing part, and thus we started displaying our products in the EPCH fairs, and it was just like a phenomenal change of the entire handicraft sector of the Northeast. Never before any handicraft products from Northeast was exported directly, and it was through the EPCH platform we were successfully doing business with overseas buyers, and we were a group of exporters which were actually nurtured or groomed by the EPCH system, and thus we were able to mobilize the entire handicrafts artisans of the Northeast in an organized way, because we were totally unorganized. We had problems like logistic problems. The nearest port is say 1,000 kilometers away from us, and we have no packaging facility in Northeast. We, even for a small carton box, corrugated box, we have to bring it from Calcutta or Delhi. But those hurdles we slowly overcome with the intervention of EPCH, and we are very fortunate that now we can say that we can export to any part of the world directly from Northeast, and that credit goes to EPCH and the effort, and even the team of entrepreneurs who were in the EPCH project were fabulous, because they just changed the entire scenario. And even we are very fortunate that we could cater to the requirement of the buyers instantly. It was earlier, it was like thing has to come to the exporter, then exporter used to pass it to the manufacturer, but the communication has got changed, and we were capable of developing a product instantly according to the need of the buyer. Now coming to the present scenario, like the Northeast is always a bit far away from the mainland India, because we lack technology, we lack finance, we lack the technical know-how, and we lack skill also. So now this scenario which has come up, we have a lot of problems which we'll be facing now, and we have already started facing it, like the withholding of orders, and when exactly the situation will improve, we are not in a position to say now. And now the things we what we have to do. Like, this is the thing which has been worrying me, and what I am planning to do from my production base and production setup is that I am going to find some newer and innovative production methods which could minimize the cost of production, because right now we are always facing a great competition from Vietnam and all the Southeast Asian countries, because our products are identical to them. So we are always having a competition with them. So now our main focus area will be to reduce the cost of the products by innovative production methods, introducing new production methods, because as we know that the buying capacity of the buyers are going to change drastically post-COVID, and we are not going to fetch the price we used to do before the COVID situation. So in this context, Northeast context, I think the technology will definitely play a vital role post-COVID, both in production and marketing. By introducing simple technologies which may minimize the raw material processing, could simplify, which will ultimately help in the reducing of the cost of the products, and which also will help in increase the productivity, minimizing the lead time, because now we know the challenges will be great, but the opportunity is also very huge, which is going to come. And we have to prepare ourselves to produce in bulk, and the bulk has to be, production has to be done in the Northeast with some technologies, with some modern inputs, so that we can use newer materials and minimize the use of materials, because earlier you used to consume a lot of materials in the product. So we have to look for innovative measures, and the technology comes into this. And in the marketing also, we feel that Northeast being isolated from the mainland and it's far away, e-commerce and various online marketing systems will play a vital role. And virtual merchandising, and sir said that you are already planning for virtual trade fairs, that will definitely help our Northeast exporters. And most importantly, I think now it's a high time for us to come up with a website of our own. All the exporters from Northeast should have a website of their own, so that we can have a common platform where we can have all the products, because we are so much scattered, like in Northeast, from one part of Northeast to another part of Northeast, we have to travel 12 hours, 14 hours. So we have to have a common platform, and what could be more efficient than the EPCH platform, because we are totally dependent upon the EPCH platform, because twice a year we go to the fair and that's all. And we have no connection with the entire world. We have the digital platform, and that is what will be helping us in future, as I presume. And regarding the overcoming of the problems, I'm very much confident, because see, we Northeast people are always fighting with the adverse situations, be it natural calamities, be it flood, be it various natural things. So sir, we are immune to that. So we are not at all disheartened. We are feeling that we are going to reborn, take a rebirth out of this COVID crisis, because we will be realizing our nature. We will be recognizing the natural resource we have got now, and explore it, which Vietnam is going very good way, which I have personally witnessed before the COVID crisis. I went there and I saw their module, and I saw the way they are working, sir, and really speaking, and I, as an exporter, I want to implement that model in my Northeast. And I definitely
thank you.
think that
Thank you, Shantanu. Very well explained. Shantanu, very well explained, and we can understand your passion. And we can only say that the continuous improvement is better than delayed perfection. That we have seen in you, that we have seen in our Northeast other partners also. For the information of all our panelists and also the other participants, in Northeast, EPCH is doing the complete backward integration project. That means we are giving them designing, we are giving them the complete product development and also the marketing platform. It's a complete project is being given to all the Northeast our exporters, and also at the same time their marketing support is over there. So I think Northeast model has been very well appreciated everywhere. EPCH has office in Guwahati and also in all 7 states of the Northeast plus Sikkim. So Rawatji, please take it forward now. Thank you.
Thank you, Shantanu. Thank you very much. It was very heartening to hear your story that you are working in the remotest part of the country and still your spirits are very high. And don't worry, our products are better than Vietnam, and with your entrepreneurial skill, we'll definitely have all the buyers coming to India rather than going to those places. Thank you, Shantanu. Thank you very much. Now we have with us 3 more gentlemen, entrepreneurs. I'll come to Namit Khanna. After that, I'll go to Mr. Bhandari and then to Mr. Aditya Vikas Agarwal. So Namit, can you hear me?
Yeah, Ravji.
Namit, you are the youngest of the lot and has just recently joined the business. I understand you hold a master's degree in product design. How do you see your education background to bring in change in your business, Namit?
Yeah. Thank you for the question, Rawat sir, and thank you for this opportunity, Rakesh sir. So I hope everyone who's watching this is keeping safe and stay positive. Just don't test positive. That's what I would like to say. And now, before my master's in product design, I had pursued BBA. So this amalgamation of a business and a design education has given me a balance in thinking, you know. So kind of an advantage to think in monetary terms as well as creative terms. So having this advantage of being predisposed to think outside the box, a change I would like to bring about in terms of design is focusing on minimalism. So I've always been an advocate for designing products that are minimal and simple. And trust me, designing a simple thing is one of the hardest things to do. So at this point in time, we must genuinely focus on minimalism. I've always believed in the saying that goes by less is more. So now is the time to actually, enforce it. So we must look for designs and manufacturing solutions that require minimum resources to save cost and help us get the maximum output. So now I'd like to give you a demonstration of what I'm saying. So this is one of the products, a planter I had designed. Is it visible to everyone?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
So I had designed this a month ago and I was supposed to launch it in the spring fair. So now this planter is simple, sleek, it's minimal. And the best part is that it can be detached. So it can be detached from the base. So now the question that might be arising or springing up in your minds is what am I trying to convey through this? So during these times, businesses that will concentrate on saving expenses rather than targeting higher profits will be the winners. So with this planter, one part where we saved some cost is the welding. Here, because it is detachable like this. So we saved on the welding cost, so that is very minimal and almost negligible. But if this is shipped in large quantities, imagine the cost you will be saving on freight just because this can be detached. So if this would have been welded, then the packaging would have been different, occupying more space in the container and increasing costs. Now almost 3 to 4 products will occupy the same space, where if welded at the base only one would occupy. So I'd like to conclude by saying that goes like this. First, we must design the right thing, and then we must design the thing right.
Namit, very well explained.
Namit.
As a matter of fact, you are in the 3rd generation exporter because your grandfather started it, your father joined it.
Yeah.
And 2 questions. One, are you getting the same liberty which your father got the liberty from his father to do the business or apply your own ideas? Number 2, how do you see that the packaging is also a product and product is also a packaging? So that packaging in context of Indian products is very, very important. And then that adds value to the product.
Okay. So answering your first question, yeah, I think like I'm getting a lot of liberty to make the decisions. So that my father has been very helpful with, and he's always motivated me to make my decisions, so that he always instills his confidence within me, and I'm having the liberty to make a lot of decisions. But obviously, the top notch decisions like lie with him, because it's just been a month since I've joined. And getting to the second question, sir, can you please repeat the second question?
Packaging is a product, and even packaging should also be considered as a product.
Yeah.
Because in India, we are considering packaging is only a safe mode of carton or box.
Yeah.
But in India, we are not considering packaging even as a product. That means we have to take it in such a way so that packaging adds value to your product, so that you can take your product from your factory to the shelf of the buyer. You are into the furniture as such, because what I understand, you are doing furniture right now.
Right.
And if you see in the IKEA stores, if you go to IKEA store, you will find, if you buy a furniture, even a table or a chair, you need not bring a vehicle over there to carry that from store to home.
Yeah.
It is packed in just in one box
Right.
with some instructions. And it is a basically in the knockdown or semi-knockdown condition. And then you carry the box. So how much weightage you are going to give the packaging to your designing for the product?
Definitely, sir. So if we're talking about departmental stores or things like that, packaging has a very important role, because in many cases where the first thing that a consumer sees is the packaging for the product. For example, if there are small products, the person will first come across the packaging, and then probably designing a package is also extremely important, and it also defines the aesthetics of the product. So I'd like to give a lot of importance to packaging as well, and probably now we should be moving towards a more sustainable way of packaging, where we can save, we can be environmental friendly, and we can follow various standards which will help us go greener.
Good. Okay. Pravaji, please take forward.
Thank you, Namit. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
And taking a cue out of what you said in the very beginning, I got a WhatsApp in the morning which says the most negative word in 2020 is positive.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the WhatsApp I got. And I can see the confidence in you, because you are so confident that you can share your product design in front of the camera. You can ask your father. What we are used to is people don't share their designs, but you're a confident lad, and we wish you all the very best.
I hope everyone got the reference what I'm trying to say.
Yes, we got it. Thanks, Namit. Now moving on, we have with us Mr. Gatik Bhandari.
Ravaji, just one liner. To all the panelists, the last question, one liner reply from every panelist. Get ready with that. Mission possible after the bloodbath and emergency revival plan in your business. Just one liner. Get ready. So we are going to ask that from all of you at last. One liner only. Again, you can note down mission possible after the bloodbath and emergency revival plan in your unit for you. Rahul, please continue. Post COVID-19. Yeah. Post COVID-19. Let me again repeat. Ravaji said, post COVID-19 mission possible after the bloodbath and emergency revival plan for your business. Right. Next.
Thank you, sir. Now we have with us Mr. Gatik Bhandari. He's a director with Bhandari Exports, Jodhpur. Gatik, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, Ravaji.
Yeah. Gatik, my question to you, you're a second generation exporter in the family business from Jodhpur, handicraft cluster, which is known for wooden handicrafts. But you have diversified into the textiles business. I would like to ask you, what was your inspiration to get into a business which will be totally different from what the cluster is known for? Gatik.
Thank you, Ravaji, for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, uncle. Textile actually was always into my mind, and I was always interested interiors and home textile and fabrics and everything. But yeah, right. The real question is why not furniture, and why something else? This should have been the real question to me. Me coming from a very big joint family, and me being the youngest in the whole family tree, I always thought that I had the least opportunity to learn from my mistakes, because before I was making mistakes, all my elders, my elder brothers, father, uncle, everybody used to say, okay, you do something else, we'll do this. So it was a very difficult challenge for me to learn. So my father, I used to like hear his stories, and I always have known that he failed many times before he succeeded. So that was never a fear. And he told me once, like long back, that no matter what you do, no matter you fail or you succeed, but your journey itself would be success. So I always wanted to start something of my own, and then something which is very close to furniture. So textile and garments, and this was closest to furniture and interiors, and had a much larger market than furniture. So I started with textiles, and yes, truly it has a very big market than furniture. Also, there are like a lot of other reasons, but I'll just keep it short and also answer to what Rakesh uncle just asked one question, like what next to post COVID. So I think it's the right time for India. Of course, there would be almost a year or two recession. It might be the bigger recession than 2008, 2009. But it is the right opportunity for India, because sentiments and thoughts and everything, feelings are changing towards India and against China. China being our biggest competitor, the sentiments are coming towards like it's towards India. So I think this time right now, it's time for compliance, modernization, and digitalization. I'll give digitalization the most important part next, because we have to make sure that customers don't come to our market, but we have to take our market to the customers, because it would be very difficult time in next 1 or 2 years, because not many customers would be traveling to us. So we have to take our market, we have to take our factories, we have to take our showrooms to the customer. So uncle has Rakesh uncle has already told that EPCH is starting with this e-fair, which I think is a very good initiative, and it will be very helpful, because I don't think any customer would be coming or traveling to India for next 1 year. It would be a very difficult situation. So it's a very good initiative, uncle. Uncle, I would just like to request you one more thing. If possible for EPCH, because EPCH already has a member base, I think more than 10,000, 15,000. Why not start up a e-catalog, e-website like Alibaba or India Mart, which could be just for EPCH and for the members of EPCH, and could be like a proper e-catalog which we can take it to the customers directly, and EPCH could market our products and everything.
I think that would be part of the entire program of virtual trade fair. It will have e-catalog, it will have individual catalog also. I think you are going to get a very fantastic feature out of this, and this is going to be something very eye-opening, and we are working on it. Hopefully in a week time we would come back to you, all of you. Ravaji, next level.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gatik. Thank you very much. And it was very good to hear that you are being mentored very well by your seniors and doing well in the business. Now we have with us two gentlemen. One is Mr. Aditya Vikas Agarwal and Mr. Anil Sadana. But Mr. Anil Sadana has to leave because he is having trouble connecting with us. Now I would come to Aditya. Aditya, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Aditya Vikas Agarwal is Director of Operation with Vikas Exports, New Delhi. Aditya, you are in a family business. Please share your experience managing the affairs of the business. How difficult or easy it has been with you to convince your father to implement your new ideas into the business. Please explain with an example how you have done so. Aditya.
so
Yeah.
much for such amazing seminars. It's really helping in these tough times and helping us to brainstorm and think of how to really work and do business in these times. So as far as working and managing the affairs of the business is concerned, it's been a good learning curve so far. I'm not as experienced as everyone on this panel. I joined business in 2017, but I've really worked my way up. And my father made sure that I worked in all departments, from production to finishing to dispatch to shipping to logistics, finance, merchandising. And that has really helped me learn about all these departments of the company and helped me get my fundamentals strong. So far it's been a good learning curve, and it's getting better every day. I'm learning new things, and this is the good part about the industry. Where, and answering the second part of your question, how difficult or easy has it been to implement things in the company? As Vikrant rightly said, working in a family business really has more advantages than disadvantages, and especially when you're a second generation business entrepreneur. If you're a third or fourth generation, you might have problems if you don't have a very good constitution in place, as he rightly pointed out. uh, the biggest advantage, again, as Vikrant said, is that you have the experience of several decades and the young energy of the youth working together, and this is really a deadly combination. And then secondly, you have your long-term vision, trust, honesty is not an issue at all. But then, of course, getting your ideas shot down is possible, because your parents might not take you seriously, because subconsciously they think that you're the kid. But as I'm learning more and my dad is taking me more seriously, and I'm becoming more and more integral part of the business. Now, for example, implementing things into the company has not been very tough for me, because my father himself is a first generation entrepreneur, and he's worked his way up, and he's very open to new ideas. For example, when we really roll down the new payroll plan, so there's been a unsaid rule that the employees are paid on the 7th, but I suggested, why don't we pay on the 1st? Because we really need to incentivize our employees, and we need to find ways on getting their loyalty. So when I said that, dad was like, why do you want to do that? So I said, why do we pay them on the 7th? So he said, if you really trust and you think this will really pay off, you go ahead with it. And we went ahead with it, and it really paid off, because in the subconscious mind, we as exporters or whatever, small, medium businessmen, we think that if we pay our employees on the 7th, we have a credit of 7 days and our employees will stick around. But actually, if your employee has made a decision to leave the company, he will leave the company, and his productivity will be less. So you can gain the employees' loyalty. Likewise, I keep trying out new things in pilot projects, and we integrated the sales funnel 80-20 rule into our company. So all these things have really helped us also. And answering the next part of Rakesh sir's question, which is basically mission possible and company revival plan. I think we've, as a human race, we've come out of bigger problems in the past. And I've been a big fan of Warren Buffett, and he says the next generation will always lead a better life than the previous generation. And I firmly believe in that, and we will revive. If we just go by some figures, India is the world's largest furniture importer, despite having all the resources to make the furniture. So China exports 100 billion and we're on 1 billion. So I believe after the pandemic, there is going to be diseconomies of scale, and people are going to move to production to their own countries. But India as a country will have more share of that. So India has a very big opportunity, and we have all the resources to make it big. So we have the labor arbitrage. We are 1:2 to China. We have the youngest population in the world. Skilling people in this industry is not very tough as compared to IT or any other industry per se. So I think the long-term future of this industry is extremely bright, and we will come out stronger, and we will find ways to fight this pandemic. And also working from home. So we don't have a very big back office operation, because as exporters, our work is mostly production. But working from home is a challenge, and finding out ways to sustain our revenues is the big challenge that we are facing. So to work on this, what we're really working on is that we've designed a sales funnel, and we're trying to see that we've worked with lots of customers in the past 3 decades, and a lot of them are not working with us.
really to talk to them and regain business from them so that we're able to sustain our business and also get to know what's happening. So we're just calling them up, talking to them what's happening, and really focusing on design. So my brother is a product designer, and we'd also, like Namit said, focusing on minimalistic design and focusing on knockdown designs, which really helps you get into big quantities and get into the e-commerce segment, which is really untapped by our Indian market. We're primarily into the mom and pop stores. So yeah, this is what I had to say.
Well said, Aditya. Rawatji, have we taken all the panelists by now?
We have, sir. We have one gentleman, Mr. Anil Sadana. He has to
not there?
leave. He's not there. He has some trouble
Okay.
joining us, sir.
Okay,
So
then
we
ask
have
Manish
covered
to,
the
if he
first
can
round
try
of
then.
questions.
Then I would like to take Mr. C.R. Rai, Vikrant's father, so that we can just have discussion with Mr. Rai and Vikrant both together. Mr. Rai? Rai Saab?
He's there. He's there.
Okay. Rai Saab, Mr. Chhatrapati Rai, who is the owner of the, you can say the chairman of the Indian Craft Syndicate. In fact, he is the second generation business person. In fact, Mr. Gulab Rai, his father started the business, and Vikrant later on joined Mr. Rai. Rai Saab, I have one question with you. You got a lot of liberty from your father. Rai Saab, you're getting me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes,
okay,
yes.
Okay, you can hear. You got a lot of liberty from your father.
Yes.
To do the business.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us one instance where Vikrant has added something special to your business, something different, what you have not done so far in your business?
He's doing a good job in the designing section that he has developed very well, which I couldn't pay so much time. And then he's doing a very good job in the technology section, upgrading our IT skills, upgrading our IT systems and all that. And of course, now he's doing more and more working into HR department also. He's trying to give special job descriptions and KRAs. They call it job description and KRA to different managers. You know, that is what he's trying.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much hearing you. And now Mr. Khanna from Divya Export. So now we have both Khannas, first and second generation Khannas are here. Can I take Mr. Khanna, Yogesh Khanna there? Yogesh ji hai?
Yeah, Rakesh ji.
Yogesh ji, अपना वीडियो ऑन कीजिए.
Rakesh ji,
अपना वीडियो ऑन कीजिए प्लीज. Okay, anyway, we can hear you. Yogesh ji, Master Khanna, I mean, your son said that there are two different temperaments in the family business, yours and your son. Can you a little bit elaborate that who is cooler, who handles the employees, merchandisers, buying agents, and the suppliers in a much professional way or diplomatic way?
Rakesh ji, first of all, I tell you, thank you very much for doing this online. This should continue because there are so many things, challenges going to come now. Things are totally different. When I started, things were different. When he joined my son, things were different. We had very few, options, but now there are plenty. But unfortunately, the situation which has arisen, we should discuss this only, what to do, how to go further. Again, people will look at you. Rakesh, be careful. Everybody we were looking at you in 94, 95, and now they'll be looking at you again. How to go further? Because things are changed. Things are going to be big change.
That's why, Khanna ji, इसी के लिए हमने जो last point रखा है ना, सबसे पूछने के लिए, that is a mission possible. That is a mission possible after the bloodbath and emergency revival plan.
You
that
cannot
question we
sell
are
the
asking
thing.
the younger, because younger generation is going to be, they are going to give us some message that how we have to ultimately do a revival plan. So let us ask that.
Going through this debate, I had been sending so many messages to Verma ji. Then we have to now change the product scenario completely. Cheaper, lowest cost, local Indian traditional items will sell very good. We should forget about the expensive decorated products, comparing China and all these. Forget. Let us start again. It's a good chance for the new generation to start fresh with fresh ideas. And then Indian traditional is going to become a very good market for anything from eating, from food to dresses to use daily uses items, clay, earthen products, the India, even Brazabad item, which we were selling old time, used in prayers and all these things can again come back with the lowest possible cost.
Correct.
This will sell good.
Correct. Absolutely agree. Absolutely, Yogesh ji, we'll take definitely your experience because this is really requirement of the new world. Rawat ji, I think now we have to ask all the panelists to give the answer to our question, which is the just raised to them. Post COVID-19, mission possible after the bloodbath. What is the revival plan they have in mind? Just one liner.
Yeah.
Ask one by one. And that is a message to the industry from the youngsters.
As Mr. Kumar already stated the question to you all, I would start in the reverse order now. I would start with Aditya Vikas. Aditya, can you hear me? Aditya?
Next lady. Next lady.
Gatek, can you hear me? Gatek. Aditya there. Aditya, can you hear me?
Gatik has replied.
Aditya, can you share your thoughts on what Mr. Kumar asked in the end? Post-COVID, what do you think? What will be the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead of us?
The biggest challenges is really getting our back office to work from home, because this is a high risk area if you work in an office environment, and this is the biggest concern, but we'll be able to,
Yeah, good. One liner, good. That's all. Next lady.
Gatek.
So back office, work from home. You have to plan your back office as to work from home. Great. Next.
Okay, Gatek, you want to add something?
Gatik has already mentioned, I think, in his address.
Okay.
Already has spoken.
Namit,
Vikrant, you can say Vikrant.
Namit.
Vikrant.
Okay. Thank you, Rakesh sir, to give us this opportunity. I would just like to add that I think we all need to leverage our existing infrastructure to add more product categories so that we can fill in vacant capacities.
Okay, great. Can you repeat it, please?
Yes, we will need to leverage our existing infrastructures with newer products of allied industries so that we can utilize our vacant capacities.
Great. Next, Lydia.
Namit.
Yeah, this is for the exporters specifically. So I think the exporters should commence business operations within the Indian market and look for markets which are non-affected by the COVID.
Okay, thanks, Namit. Now, may we have Ram? Ram, can we have your one-liner?
Yes, sir. Just forget past and move forward with existing customers, which is our best clients in this situation.
Okay.
With strategic plan.
Thanks, Ram. Beenam?
Yes. So I believe the emergency revival plan should be investing in robotic automation and artificial intelligence, which will reduce the manual intervention and reliance on human to work face to face, which will cut the transmission risk. Investment in robot automation will also enable production to scale and shrink in response to the sudden demand and food.
Thanks, Beenam. I think technology is the key in future, I suppose. Right. Now, Shantanu, can we hear it from you, Shantanu?
Yeah, I have a single line, that is understanding my buyers' need and fulfilling them for a sustainable livelihood of our artisans.
Okay, thanks, Shantanu. Shivam, Mr. Shivam Khanna.
Yeah, so I'd say SSALS, survive, save, automate, lower your expectations, and stay alert for opportunities.
Very well said. Very well said, Shivam. Vishal?
Can you repeat, Shivam? Just a minute. Can you repeat?
Survive, save, automate, lower your expectations, and stay alert for opportunities.
Great.
Right. Vishal?
So I plan to have a dedicated COVID check team to check its control and spread in the factory and its workers. We need to promote ourselves as a COVID-free factory to win our customers' trust. We should all take responsibility of this situation.
We need to have a COVID compliant setup. Thanks, Vishal.
Yeah.
Puneet, can we hear it from you, Puneet?
Just for COVID compliance setup, I would like to just add here, EPCH has already started making the standards for the COVID safety. It's basically pathogen safety, not only COVID, all type of viruses safety standards. So the standards will be ready in next 15 days and these will be available to the industry. These will be complete standards. Right. Next, please.
Puneet?
Sir, so as the fashion industry will be the biggest loser post-COVID, I would design styles which would last for all the seasons, all the 2 or 3 seasons, whatever the buyers think. And I would also diversify into more product lines, but using the same techniques and materials that are there already in my company, so that I have different product lines, but my investment does not go too high in getting into newer products. And one more very important thing, that now I will get into more of collaborations and partnerships with my fellow exporters, because some would have one kind of a look and the other one would have other kind of look, and there are specific buyers who are my favorite buyers around favorite suppliers. Then I would have a larger product lines to show it to them.
Thank you, Puneet. Design and diversification
most important
are the most important. Now we have father-son duo here. Mr. Vikas Agrawal has also joined us. But before we move on to Mr. Vikas Agrawal, we have Soumya Suresh. Soumya, your one-liner.
So I think 2 things, being a startup is extremely important. One is to increase the runway that you have in terms of managing the business and keeping your cash flows tight. That would be the first. And the second would be to diversify as home becomes the integral part of the customer, the end customer. So designing for the customer, thinking really hard about how they're going to spend all their time at home and utilize the products that we actually make.
Okay. Thanks, Soumya. Thank you very much. Now we have father-son duo with us.
Very well said, Soumya, that tight finance is very, very important. Cash flow, somebody said right now, cash in hand is very important. So I think very, very clear message, very loud message. Great.
So Mr. Vikas Agrawal is there, Aditya's father. He has just joined us.
Vikasji, we just completed. Good afternoon. Vikasji, just anyway, one question which was supposed to be in between, but now almost
network issues, sir.
But anyway, we're just concluding. So after the Aditya joined, you think that there's a change in the business working or business style and the entire philosophy of your working?
So the whole thing has changed. Philosophy started making me work. I was lazy. Now you have to work. There's no 9 to 5 or there's 24/7 working, sir. And in this COVID time also, I would say that he's got more orders. He's been working on it and he's been up with the buyers. In fact, he got 3 orders yesterday, from customers.
Oh, great.
Oh, great.
तो ये लगा हुआ है,
Congratulations.
उस वजह से, और luckily कुछ cancel भी नहीं हुआ हमारा.
चलिए, Zoom पर ऑर्डर मत लेना क्योंकि Zoom जो है सेफ प्लेटफॉर्म नहीं है, ध्यान रखिएगा.
सर ये
ठीक है, थैंक यू. Anyway, रावत जी कोई रह गया अपने उसमें से?
No, we are done with everyone, sir.
Okay,
now,
fine.
We have Mr. Pasi and Mr. Verma with us, sir.
Yeah.
We'd like to have
but
word.
very, very strong message. I think, Rawatji, we have to make the complete synopsis or what are the messages coming from youngster. Because this message of the revival plan is very, very good because the way the youngsters see. And that is the basically message of the Gen Next for all of us. Yeah, please. Yeah, Verma ji,
Pasi sahab se pehle. We have our chairman, Mr. Pasi, with us.
Good afternoon.
Can you share?
Good afternoon. मजा आ गया ये सारा कुछ देखते हुए सुनते हुए. हमें अपनी भी कुछ याद आई. कहीं सेकंड जनरेशन है, कहीं की थर्ड जनरेशन है, मगर हमारी जो मेरी अगर मैं अपना एक्सपीरियंस आपको बताऊं तो मैं फर्स्ट ही था जो कि दिल्ली से नहीं था. आई वाज इन चंडीगढ़ व्हेन आई केम हियर इन अबाउट 1980. तो मुझे याद है कि उस समय और अब के टाइम के अंदर बहुत फर्क है. उन दिनों फोन भी नहीं मिलते थे, एक्सचेंज भी नहीं मिलती थी. अगर एक्सचेंज मिलती थी तो आपके एक्सपोर्ट कितनी है, कितने दिन के लिए आप जाएंगे, आके उसको सारे डॉलर्स का गवर्नमेंट को हिसाब देना पड़ता था. मगर अब बहुत कुछ चेंज हो गया है और पोस्ट ये जो कोविड-19 है, मुझे ये लगता है कि हमारी लाइफ के अंदर ये कोविड कई बार आया है। जब हम काम शुरू करते थे, सपोज जर्मनी है, यूरोप में है, तो हर एक 300 किलोमीटर के ऊपर एक बॉर्डर आ जाता था। वो कहते थे कस्टम वाले, अच्छा जी इसको खोलो, आप अपना सामान चेक करो, बिकॉज ऑफ यू यूज्ड टू गो बाय ट्रेन्स। तो जिस दिन ऑर्डर मिल गए बेहतर था, नहीं तो फिर कोविड था। तो हमने ये टाइम भी देखा है, मगर ये एक ऐसा टाइम है जिसके अंदर हमें अपने खर्चों को कम करना होगा, वही सेविंग है। और जो काम का तरीका है आने वाले समय के अंदर ये बिल्कुल चेंज होने वाला है और लोग, जहाँ तक मैं समझता हूँ, नेशनलिज्म के ऊपर भी आएंगे। वो सोचेंगे कि भाई हम अपना सामान अपने कंट्री के लिए बनाएं और अपने कंट्री में बेचें और एक्सपोर्ट भी करें। इस चीज़ का भी काफ़ी फ़र्क आने वाला है और नई जनरेशन को मैं मुबारकबाद देता हूँ कि वो अभी भी इस समय के अंदर दे हैव already made so many good plans also, and I wish them all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, as always, for your very encouraging remarks. Now, last but not the least, we have with us Mr. R.K. Verma, our Executive Director. I would request you, sir, to share your thoughts on what has been said today.
Thank you, Rawat ji, and namaskar to Chairman Sahab and Rakesh ji, DG PCH. First of all, I am really happy that we are sitting today with the second generation, because we, and particularly Sir Rakesh ji ke saath, we started our almost career with the first generation, means their earlier generation. So this is the second generation we are sitting, and no doubt in the since around say 12 o'clock, there is a lot of new idea, new concept are given. Definitely, they will survive in this difficult time. No doubt, circumstances are adverse, not favorable, but definitely the young generation will use the experience of the past, their senior member in the trade, they can guide them, and also the technology, digital, online, these are the new business model which they are likely to be adopted, because they have maximum they have suggested like that. So be ready, you have the limited resources, because both end, the buyers and you, both will be struggling limited resources. So maybe the small quantity, so you have to do the business within that limit. I share you today, I am in the morning, because these are the challenges. This is the time we have to think how to challenge to be converted into an opportunity. Today I received a message, one of my senior exporters say they are high-end bag manufacturing exporters, and they send me pictures that they are started manufacturing of they were exporting and manufacturing the high-end bags. Now they are manufacturing the mask. So they are using this challenge as an opportunity and doing the business. Earlier, I think some speaker has already told that opportunities are definitely coming. The thinking of the worldwide buyers about the China, they may be shifting to the manufacturing hub to the other country. So you may have a lot of opportunity. So these are the time to use that opportunity. As earlier discussed, that technology and digital is the coming time, because buyers are not traveling. As Rakesh ji told, that EPCH is also coming with a new idea, that is virtual trade fair. Very soon, maybe within a next 15 days, you will have. So we are also using the new technology to market your products. So the next somebody suggests that Alibaba.com and others, that will be the next step. Don't worry, that will also be in addition to the virtual trade fairs. So I think in last, I can say all of them are positive. They have the positive approach. और ये कह सकता हूँ कि इस तूफान से ये यंग जनरेशन अपनी कश्ती निकाल के ले जाएगी और नई ऊंचाइयों को टच करेगी. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I would like to thank EPCH, especially Rakesh Kumar ji, Verma ji, Pasi ji, that you have taken such a good initiative this will bring a lot of encouragement to the coming generation. And this is the right time to give them a lot of encouragement, because they have to take, जैसे कहते हैं किश्ती भंवर से निकाल के, जैसे वर्मा जी ने भी कहा, इनको निकाल कर ले जानी है किश्ती अब आगे। तो ये बड़ा अच्छा आपने प्लेटफॉर्म बनाया है, एंड आई थिंक आगे भी आप इसको कंटिन्यू करते रहिएगा, तो इनको इससे एनकरेजमेंट मिलेगी, नए नए आइडिया भी मिलेंगे और बिजनेस करने में थोड़ी आसानी भी मिलेगी। बाकी सब तो कुछ हम कह ही चुके हैं, और इसके ज़्यादा मैं कुछ नहीं कहना चाहूँगा। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सबको। थैंक यू सो मच।
Thank you, Mr. Rai. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, what we gather from the discussion is technology is the key, product and design adaptations, keeping your resources, looking after your human resource. So these are the key takeaways from today's discussion. We have a very, very young team who's involved in handicraft sector, and we hope that the entire handicraft sector benefit from such youngsters. Now, I would like to share an information with you that we had a very, very overwhelming support today. We had over 700 registrations, and at any point of time, there were 500 exporters who listened to what was being said today. I thank all the participants who joined us today, and I would like to thank all the young entrepreneurs who were with us in these discussions, sharing their thoughts. I would like to thank our chairman, Mr. Pasi, our DG, Mr. Rakesh Kumar, and Mr. Verma for joining us. Thank you all. Thank you very much. We'll keep you posted with next set of webinars. Manish, can you share that screen with us? We have a very important webinar tomorrow on design, and a very important faculty in Mr. Kaustav Sengupta will be there asked to deliver his lecture. He's a famous designer. I would request all the participants and even the panelists who are with us today to join us tomorrow at 12 noon. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you once again. Thank you very much.